Thursday, February 26th, the Breaking and Entering Show, marketing's weekly news show with Gino. How you doing, bub?
Feeling good, Jack. Last time I had a little sinus thing, but I'm cleared up. I'm ready to freaking go.
Let's move tonight. Feel the spark of life.
We got some good stories and good topics.
Good stories, good topics. As opposed to bad stories and bad topics. We're going to do good this time.
Yes,
we're going to do the good ones this time.
Very best.
A lot of great guests across the entire country, Gino.
I'll
we go
tell you what,
West Coast to East
them.
Coast, Central.
We're getting them.
We're getting them.
They like us. And we like them.
That's shocking to me. All right, listen, let's get started. Biggest news stories of the week, a little bit of a 2-minute drill, 2 minutes each topic. We're going to talk about it. Let's get into it, starting right now. First one, WPP Investor Day is today, Gino, and we're recording this the day before today. So we're recording on Wednesday, but a lot to get through. It's Sydney Rose addressing the investors, the company. What are you looking out for now?
Listen, I'm hoping for some success for Sydney Rose. I want to see a turnaround here, right? Like we saw Mark Reed leave, they get Sydney Rose in, and now her whole goal is to increase revenue, right? Like, what else does a CEO need to do?
Well, what a lot of it has been doing in the holding company landscape is quite the opposite, which is decreasing costs, Gino. So you've seen a lot of that. You would think that it would be more about increasing revenue, but at the end of the day, they're answering to shareholders, and shareholders want to see profit. They want to see things moving in that direction, and sometimes from a holding company standpoint, that means they're going to try and optimize.
Ooh.
So a lot more from that strategic review. We'll see what she says, where the company's headed, but a little bit of a sneak peek. Adobe partnership has increased quite a bit. They just announced that. More AI, becoming more of a tech company. If we know what we know, which we do know, Sydney Rose comes from that Microsoft background. So it's very clear that they're moving into that, how can we get our tech stack dialed in?
Yeah. So the state of the other holding companies, how are they doing? Because I think I saw Havas hit its projected revenue. Mm-hmm. So revenue increase. So that was good for them.
It's good for them, but the overall landscape is still that these holding company models are not putting in a vote of confidence for their investors. The stock prices are all down. WPP has gone from a $30 billion plus business to as low as $4 billion now. So we'll see if there's going to be a turnaround. Something needs to change. We'll see if they can do it.
She's got this.
But more to come on that, and that is 2 minutes for WPP Investor Day. Keep a lookout on how they're planning to turn the ship around. Mm-hmm. Next up, another major holding company, one that's outperformed the rest in the last 12 to 18 months. It's Publicis.
Okay.
We're talking about Rahul Titus has been brought in to be the global influencer lead. Why is this interesting?
This is interesting, Jack. Thanks for teeing me up here. It's interesting because he comes from WPP. That's the rival holding company, right, Jack?
That's right.
And he was doing stuff there, and Publicis must have liked him, and they poached him. They did the Publicis poach.
It's the Publicis poach, trademarked.
You know what? It's not a bit. Listen, if they're doing better than the rest of the holding companies, I'm Rahul. I get the Publicis poke for the poach.
It's the triple P. It's the Publicis poke and poach is what they're calling it.
It's hard to refuse that offer. I'm sure they give him an offer he can't refuse.
Yes, that's speculation. But the what's real is that Rahul Titus was leading L'Oreal. Ogilvy has done great work, I think, in the influencer realm, in the spectrum of being good and being bad. I would say you love the CeraVe work.
Yeah.
They've got some good
Michael
stuff cooking.
Whether he's an influencer or celeb or not, they did some great work with them. So I'll count it.
Yeah, and he was leading. It's all about. It's all about, creating one integrated approach, and that's been the Publicis mantra.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time, Jack.
Yeah, so being able to now bring in influencer into the realm, we know that's where budgets are heading. They're moving away from this legacy media commercials and maybe more into the creator economy, more into influencers and more into social.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what they come up with over there at the Publicis HQ over there.
If Publicis, if they come to you and they say, I want to do the Publicis poke and poach, what are you saying?
Obviously, I think everybody has to take that call.
Oh my God.
You got to pick up the phone when Publicis calls.
Well, you get hired as a freaking loser. That'd be your job description.
No, I would be the dopest employee there.
No,
that would be my title.
That is not true. 100%.
They would love me there.
They would not love you there. That's 2 minutes. Rahul Titus. Keep an eye out for Publicis's influencer.
The Publicis poke.
Publicis poke, coined here. Next story, Gino. Speaking of another P word, PR.
Oh.
Creative agencies. A little bit of a trend. It's not necessarily new, but the fact that we have Uncommon, Creative Studio, and McKinney, 2 solid agencies launching PR practices. What do you got on this one?
Yeah, I think Uncommon is an interesting one to me. That was my agency of the year for 2025. Gino patented that one. So I think, coming from a super creative shop, super poetic creativity from Nils and Sam Shepard here, now that they've learned how to create creative work that gets earned that buzzed attention now, it seems like they want to bottle up what they know, hired somebody, and now they're offering that for external clients here. So whether or not that I'm sure it's integrated, like the creative thinking into all their projects, but now they can actually sell that as either a separate service or integrated within their current offering.
Yeah, I mean, how much of it's to me the launch is just to be like, hey, this exists now. Hey, this is a thing. The PR for the PR launch is an interesting thing, and like I said, it's not necessarily something that's new, but we're seeing more of this demand from brands.
You know what people forget, Jack? Uncommon is a part of Havas, and it is not an independent shop.
No,
and Havas has its own PR companies within their mix of 20,000 whatever employees that they might have, a large holding company. They have a specific agency that does PR, but this is just for Uncommon.
Yeah, and
I like that they respect those boundaries.
Agreed.
Right?
I'm with you because similar to Iris. Iris is, I think, do you call it a holding company or whatever they're under with what's it called?
The
network. Chail Agency Network, and so it's a good. I feel like that's how it should be with these holding companies. It's like you don't even know that Uncommon is a part of Havas. Just let them cook. Let Nils cook.
And then what was the other brand, real quick? I think we have 2 seconds.
McKinney
did the similar offerings.
Yeah. I mentioned that. Yeah, that's a 2-minute drill. Next one. Next story. Last story. Fallen Media announces the Love Network, a dating-focused content division for brands to tap into. This Fallen Media, you maybe don't know that name, but you know the name of the social shows that they produce. I'm talking about Street Hearts, talking about Love Train, Pass the Mic.
What's on the Love Train?
Love Train is the subway. They go on the subway. It's Tiff.
Oh, yeah.
And she sets up people on dates. But think about this. Stick with me here. I've got something
distracted
here. You think about a TV channel, and you think about media buying into a TV channel. This is kind of what they're trying to organize. Fallen Media. Saul Batesh, a co-founder over there, doing great stuff. And it's similar to how a brand might plug in and do a media buy for a TV channel. They're saying, let's do that, but with our social shows. So being able to get into beauty or Hinge or Tinder and being you can now media buy across multiple different shows, keep it organized. I think it's an interesting look into where things are going.
Bundle it together, you get that cross promotion there. I think that's a really smart play by them. So those brands got to start thinking about it. Maybe it's Rahul.
Should we make the connect?
Make the connect. Rahul should be looking at that.
Rahul should be looking at that. Rahul Titus.
Little tap in.
You should get a little bit of a. Why not? Get a little 10% commish. For Gino.
I like that. No, but smart. And we'll talk about this later in the episode, but Hollywood studios, the traditional model is also applying to these new creator companies too.
It's the same, but it just looks different. You have your commercial break on MTV. Now it's you have your feed of episodes of Street Hearts, and then one of them is a commercial break in the sense that it's a branded partnership kind of thing. So I was on Street Hearts.
I was going to bring that up. You have direct experience with the brand. Do you like working with Soul and the team there and Tiff?
They're professionals.
Did you find love?
No.
And that's all the time we have for that.
It was a fitting end to the 2-minute drill. Anything else from you, Gino, before we keep it rolling?
No, that we are rocking and rolling here.
Excellent. Yeah, we are. We're really getting this thing dialed in. Can I get an air horn from Ross, please?
Am I looking at this camera still?
Probably. I mean, we got a 1 to 3 chance of having the right camera. Gino, moving on. I don't know if you saw this. You absolutely saw this. Kim Kardashian is a part of the relaunch. People thought it was a launch. It's a relaunch of Update. Update is a caffeine-free energy drink.
No such thing, Jack. You got to have caffeine.
I read that. I was like, what?
I know. We posted about it, and I was still confused.
I had no idea. No clue.
I had to Google it.
I know.
There's a chemical
paraxanthemine or something.
Yeah, chrysanthemime.
But they did this launch. You got Kim Kardashian behind it. When I saw it, I was initially like, oh God, yes, another Kardashian, another wellness, another celebrity CPG item. But it's a big conversation in like the wellness category. So we're not experts on it.
No, we are not.
But who is?
Nate Rosen, the founder of Express Checkout, it basically has an amazing following on his socials and channels. Built quite the community around CPG and retail and the branding in that space. So we're not going to talk about it. We're going to have him come in.
And he's great. Nobody knows CPG, nobody knows branding in that space more than Nate. He's coming on. He also just launched a podcast, Brand's Biggest Fan. I recommend everyone go check it out. His first episode is with Ben Goodwin, who's the co-founder of Olipop. Enough of that. Let's talk about Update. Let's talk about Kim Kardashian. Let's talk about CPG. Let's kick it over to Nate Rosen.
And now on to talk more, our resident retail and CPG brand expert, Nate Rosen, founder of Express Checkout. Nate Rosen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Let's get into it. Kim K, what we needed, I was thinking about this the other night as I was falling asleep. I need Kim K. Look at that. Nate got the packaging already.
I'm always ready.
I needed a caffeine-free energy drink from Kim K, and my prayers have been answered. Nate, thoughts on the launch? Thoughts on this new product Update? It's a clean energy drink, as the kids would say.
It's a clean energy drink. I think the launch went pretty well. It seemed that a lot of people were interested in this. Obviously, it's another celebrity brand. It's famously a Kardashian brand, and people definitely have opinions. I made a few videos about it and got some interesting comments, but across the board, it seems like people are interested and excited for this. This is technically a relaunch. The brand was founded in 2022. Kim discovered the brand in 2023 and has been in talks with the brand for a while. I actually think to launch a brand like this, which has a unique ingredient, paraxanthine, I had to look up how to pronounce it. I literally Googled one of those YouTube videos, how to pronounce paraxanthine, because it's an X, not a Z. So it's a compound that your body apparently metabolizes or creates when you metabolize caffeine. So you get a similar effect, apparently. I've had it for many years now. I was looking at my camera roll. I had it back in 2023. I feel like I get a similar kick to it, and I am a caffeine aficionado. I love a 200 milligram plus energy drink. I love a C4. I love a Bloom Nutrition. I love an Alani Nu. I love a cold brew, a nitro brew, whatever you got. I'm a big fan of caffeine, and I feel like this is just as effective.
So when it comes to this brand and you said this was a relaunch, what are both sides saying? Those that are for it, maybe that don't like it. What can we tell from the public sentiment around Kim Kardashian's new energy drink launch?
So one of the sentiments against it that I've seen is, one, we don't need another energy drink brand. And and while there are a lot of energy drink brands, there is a reason that there are more energy drink brands coming onto the market. One, people are trying to get away from coffee. They want different forms of caffeine. They want different levels of caffeine. That's why V8 Energy does so well. That's like a 90 to 80 milligram amount of caffeine. I think this one will be picked up because it technically doesn't have caffeine. But I'm friends with a beverage expert, and he told us for a previous newsletter we wrote about the boom of energy, is that energy is having its craft beer moment. So new energy drink brands like Lucky, like Bloom Nutrition, they're filling a structural gap in distributor portfolios that have been filled by high velocity brands and dominated by these big brands that have limited flexibility on pricing, on placement, on innovation, on branding. So distributors often carried volume, like a Monster, like a Red Bull, but didn't always have a lot of variety. And now there's a lot of variety coming into the space, like Update and all these other energy drink brands that, from a distributor standpoint, they want. From a consumer standpoint, I think they wanted too. A lot of energy drink brands were really speaking to men mostly, and Celsius and Alani Nu, Bloom Nutrition, Alex Earl and Alex Cooper's energy drink, and now Kim Kardashian's. I think some of the quote unquote haters are also, I've seen anti-BLM billionaire comments because it's another Kardashian brand. People are sort of fed up with a lot of these celebrity brands as well. I think some people are a little bit confused about like the relaunch side of it, because it's kind of being positioned as a net new brand, but it has been around for a while. People have tried it, but effectively it is kind of a new brand. But this happens a lot in the CPG world. Is you just don't see it a lot behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, for like the general public, it's probably going to feel new. And if I'm working at Update and you find out that Kim K is like interested, what a moment! Because like what you're saying, Nate, the biggest part of all this is just getting the distribution, and they start out now with this relaunch, 4,000 Walmart stores. Probably literally just because of the fact that it's Kim K's putting her name on it. And so that feels like the biggest part of it is just getting on the store shelves. And then from there, you're like, as a consumer, you're like, okay, I'll try this. And then all of a sudden the flywheel starts going. I feel like if you're Update, Nate, are they just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is unreal?
I hope so. I think they are. I'm friendly with the founder, and he seems very excited and very happy about this. I think what I'm curious to see how they do is how they leverage Kim going forward and what they leverage her for. Obviously, her title is co-founder. She won't be doing too much of the day-to-day operations of the business. That is totally fine. She is she's a brand operator. She has a brand and has been involved in other energy drink brands before. But with a lot of celebrity brands, they're usually not the core operator of the business. They're leveraged in different ways, whether it's from press, whether it's from all the promotions, usually a marketing standpoint. But I'm very curious to see how involved she is in a year's time. Because there's a lot of celebrity brands that start, they say, we have a celebrity co-founder, and then you never hear from them again. They don't use the product daily. They don't share it with their friends who they're close to. It's kind of a waste of that celebrity. If you're going to give them equity and going to get them involved in the brand and make a big splashy moment of it, make sure they're involved. And there are now much more, there are better celebrity brands now than I think there were in the past. Even in the past like 2 years. Like I think Bureau does a really good job at this, which is Tom Holland's brand. I think Mayo, who has Molly Baz, who's maybe not a Hollywood celebrity, but she is a very well-known chef. She was on Bon Appetit. I think there are, and Ben Stiller's soda brand, Stiller's. He does a very good job as well, where he's the right amount of involved. Like Kodiak Cakes announced, I think a few years ago, that Zac Efron was going to be the chief brand officer, chief creative officer of Kodiak Cakes. Great, that makes sense. He's jacked. They sell protein pancakes. Beautiful pairing. Never heard from him again.
Yeah, that's a classic. I love that. I love that move when someone gets named the creative director. It's the best.
Lady Gaga Polaroid.
Lady Gaga creative director Polaroid. That it's so fascinating. No, that's amazing, and I think, like you're just seeing more of this. Just the celebrities owning. They're not like doing brand partnerships. Once you get to a certain level of fame, you start just owning the brands that you want to partner with, which is fascinating.
And it seems like the celebrities now are entering brands or buying brands or getting involved with brands that are in the health and wellness space. Because we saw the wave, and I'm sure there's still the wave of tequila brands, celebrities starting their own brands all the time. Like that's probably still going on in the background, but it's interesting to see the move into health and wellness. Do you notice that trend in the broader CPG landscape of what you're covering?
I mean, wellness is everything. Wellness has infiltrated every category. The retailers are betting big on wellness. They're expanding their assortments. They're building whole sections of the store that are dedicated to wellness. I mean, Ulta Beauty and skincare. They have a whole wellness section. They're selling Bloom energy drinks and considering that wellness. They're selling silk pillowcases, considering that wellness. So wellness has expanded beyond just supplements. It's wellness of body. It's wellness of skin. It's wellness of mind. It's everything under the sun. I think, especially from the celebrity brand side, and just the brand side in general, wellness is so cool because it tends to be habitual. It usually the products are around a habit, something you have multiple times a day, multiple times a week, multiple times within a morning. And that is a very favorable type of product for anybody running a brand. You want a habitual product. You want these repeat purchases.
Yeah, it's sticky. It's sticky. I mean, listen, I'm
Very
getting a
cynical.
coffee every day. I get a coffee every day. That's my wellness.
You're addicted.
I'm addicted.
You're
I'm addicted.
That's the
Sorry.
whole-
Sorry. There's worse things to be addicted to. Right,
Yeah.
Nate?
Right. Oh, yeah, of course. I'm addicted
Well,
to candy,
listen.
honestly.
Hey, nothing worse. Nothing better than a nice Skittles. But Nate Rosen, appreciate you. Our CPG correspondent. Recurring guest, possibly?
I would love to.
Yes.
Be honored.
Nate, thank you.
Thank you so much, Nate.
Thanks, guys.
Boom. Nice. That was Nate. So now transitioning out of the Kim Kardashian world into creative, some of the creatives that we like this week. It's a weird time right now, I will say, for like creative campaigns because there's not really like a big moment. We're coming out of the Winter Olympics. We're pre-Summer Olympics. So, but there's some stuff that we really like lately.
Yeah, and so we're going to bring on the expert in art direction and concepting, better than us. That is Jason Murray. What do we need to know about Jason, Jack?
You know Jason on the internet. He is. We've got a term for him that you'll see in a second. But Jason Murray, great following. He's got his art director's school, his boot camp. So a lot of art directors have learned from Jason, and he has such a great taste and great feel for what's really good and why things look the way they do. So let's kick it. Let's bring in Jason to talk more about some campaigns that we like this week. Okay. It's the Creative Corner with Jason Murray. Going to talk about some creative campaigns that have come out recently that Jason likes. Jason, legend on the internet, the art director school, I know, in March, correct, Jason?
Yeah. We're doing another boot camp in March. Did one in January and one in last September. And it's just been really great and getting a lot of great response from that 30-day focus on art direction, teaching creatives how to think like art directors.
Love that. That's a little plug. How about this one for you, Jason? If you want it, you can have it. Your art director's favorite art director, Jason Murray.
That's funny.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Let's jump into it, Gino.
Let's dive into the first campaign that we talked about this morning. But Omoda Seven, Uncommon Creative Studios. Jack texted me this morning saying, Uncommon Creative Studio is incapable of doing anything normal. It's the truth here. Jason, can you give us, are you familiar with the Omoda 7 car brand? Can you give us a little rundown on the brand and then what the hell we saw with these 3 films?
Yeah. So I'm not as familiar with the car itself. I did a little bit of research. It's a Chinese car brand launching in the UK. Maybe it'll come to the US. I'm not as familiar with the background of the car. But this launch, the tagline that they're going with is everything is essential. And it's this idea of, excessiveness. This car is excessive. So show just how excessive the car is, really this idea of abundance. I think it comes through in the spots, but there's an interesting concept that I've been talking about. And the reason why I'm just so excited about these spots, and if you haven't seen them, you have to go check them out, is that there's this concept of process as art. I've been talking about it a bit on my own channels, but I don't think people have really understood what that could look like. And what's interesting to note, especially because I'm an art director, is that they showed behind the scenes stuff in the hero spots themselves, in the frame. And usually, a lot of commercials, they'll ship like a behind the scenes video or a making of video along the side. And it's kind of like self-serving. It's more for the creatives, or maybe like fans of the brand to really dive deeper. But for this, you'll notice that so there's 3 spots. One takes the car through a whole bunch of sort of simulated wind tunnel environments, the weather, snow is getting splashed at the car, different things like that. The second spot is kind of promoting the fragrance technology of the car. I guess you can press a button and the fragrance can change and stuff. Really cool. Only could expect that from an EV car brand. And then the third spot is about its noise cancellation. And what they did for that one is they took a whole bunch of cats and let them kind of claw and purr and prowl across the car. So you've got these 3 different spots and these different ways of showcasing this excessiveness, the the features of each car. The one about the fragrance, they literally, throw a whole bunch of flowers and different things onto the car. But anyone who's worked on cars, I haven't worked on a lot of cars in the past, but anyone who's worked on cars and advertising, they know that a lot of these are done with CG. Even the car themselves, most of the car ads you see are never actually these beautiful shots actually in the mountains. They're CG. And so what they did was they did this for real. And in this day and age, you have to prove it. We don't believe that anything's shot for real. And so they're literally showing the air cannons in the spot. You see it in the frame, the air cannons blowing flowers at the car. And it's like hundreds of different flowers, landing on the car, showcasing the fragrance technology. They've got the actual cats, purring and clawing at the car, and that's showcasing the noise cancellation. So this concept of process as art is just something I'm really excited about and thinking about more, because it's not just shipping a behind the scenes video. It's putting glimpses of the behind the scenes in the frame, in the hero spots, in the ads itself. So as you can tell, I'm passionate about it, because it's like, man, I want to see more of that, because I want to believe that what I'm seeing is like real and impressive,
Yeah, 100%. I mean, though, I know what you're talking about too. There's the one, I think it's the cat spot, where at the end it's like someone that's on the set walks kind of like in the scene. Can you imagine being that person? Like you get to, you get to be like, oh, I worked on that commercial. You'd be like, that's me right there. I'm in the commercial. Credits for sure.
I was gonna say I need that fragrance technology in my room.
It's a good call. But it's this is like
technology.
It's very uncommon though. And Jason, I think you went pretty deep on a recent campaign of uncommons, but they have and you can even tell when you read the Ad Age write up on it, and you think about and you look at the press release, they're very intentional about making the focus of it how it was made. Gino and I joke about this all the time for the
BritBox.
Britbox.
17 different. It took 17 hours straight, one shot.
Yeah.
432 different costume changes, 13 different shots, 400 lights for you. They get so tangible on them, It's it kind of reminds me of when I was in college trying to beef up my resume. They say you have to put the analytics in your resume.
Yeah.
But they do it. It works so well, and it's the antidote to the AI slop. I think that's what Jason is touching on too.
Yeah. What was the one that you talked about recently? And then, sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Uncommon. Yeah, I went really deep on the Ordinary spot that they did, and I think they just really care about the details, and I feel like they have this. I'm going to assume they have a philosophy of not assuming the audience is dumb and assuming that the audience will care about the details. And so, yeah, but even the behind the scenes glimpses, everything is super intentional. It's not like they're doing it haphazardly. The guy that comes in to sweep after, or the person to come in and wrangle the cat after, it's probably an actor. It's probably someone very much blocked out to go and walk into a certain spot. But it still gives me this idea that they actually went and did this thing for real, and that's the art of it. It's the edit isn't the art. The actual fact that they shot all these flowers or they let the cats loose on the car, that's the hero spot. So super fun.
Two other things: the car's never moving.
Yeah,
not once. And then also, it's ruined all other car ads. If you next time you're watching TV, you see an ad, it's just going to be the basic mud on the tires.
Yeah. They it's driving through a thunderstorm or whatever. You get the shot. It's the most perfect picturesque road to drive on. So that was Uncommon. Omoda 7 car maker debut. Next one I wanted to talk about, Jason. Quick one, just because I find this so fascinating. But A$AP Rocky is the creative director at Ray-Ban. I remember they came out with this news last year, I want to say, and you always wonder about these celebrity collaborations where they just name someone a creative director. Is anything actually going to happen? But they come out with this film, and I thought it was really interestingly shot. And it's A$AP Rocky and Nas, a famous rapper, just chilling. They meet up, and then A$AP Rocky just kind of explains what the products are that Ray-Ban's coming out with. But just curious about your thoughts on that spot, and then the idea of these celebrity creative directors.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anytime you have a celebrity creative director, it's usually like 9 times out of 10, it's like a PR move. They're like a figurehead, and just like the ability to attach a brand to that name might, push the brand in a certain direction. But A$AP Rocky is known for really, high art, conceptual, or like experimental music videos. He pushes filmmaking. He pushes the technology of his filmmaking. So if you've looked at his music videos, you know that he's got creative chops, and a lot of that is driven by himself. So this latest film that he did, I think, proves that he's going to be a little bit more, have his finger more on the levers and the creative control of the brand than most, symbolic creative directors. He directed the spot himself, and I won't pretend to know like all of the details of how much it means to that culture, the community. I never watched Belly, but it's a cult classic, and the spot or the film is a recreation of a scene from Belly where Nas is having a conversation with the character there. And so it's like, I checked out, you can find it on Instagram. There's people that put it split screened. It's shot for shot. They went to the exact same diner. I'm pretty sure it's up in Harlem, and there's even more significance there with diner, like late night diner outings and the culture there. But it's shot for shot. There's now a handicap accessibility wheelchair ramp in the front, which wasn't there before, but it's essentially the exact same diner. They're putting up, in terms of art direction, set design, they're putting up things on the wall, and even the artwork itself is all the exact same. And then I think the detail that like showcases just A$AP Rocky's attention to detail. And I again, it's kind of this appreciation of detail that the fans will appreciate the detail. If you look at the style of his line, of his glasses, it's just like verbatim. It looks similar to the glasses in the film, to the glasses Nas is wearing. So I think he's thinking through those details. He's got a strong team around him that's helping him execute. And I think it's going to really push the creative reputation of Ray-Ban further forward than a symbolic creative director would, for sure.
Yeah, I think it is, because to me, Ray-Ban always, I feel like they like feel like a retro brand almost. Like they're constantly drawing on the nostalgia. Like even I forget the name of it, but like the classic Ray-Bans that everyone has. Wayfarer. Like those are such a iconic old school vibe.
It's classic.
It's classic. I feel like Ray-Ban is classic. And A$AP Rocky also, by the way, I've come to really recently love A$AP Rocky because he just put out this, I don't know who he worked on with it, but he was at an elementary school in New York City, helping students like with their music and like rapping.
That's cool.
And it's so cool. It's like he's working with these kids. He's very personable, and he's like helping this young, probably like second grader, like overcome his fear of like speaking in public. It's awesome. So A$AP Rocky is like, I feel like he's freaking awesome. And this is just another thing for him.
Yeah. If I'm Ray-Ban, I'm gonna just say, do whatever you want. I'm curious about the car at the end of that ad. Did you see that it was like a truck of some sort, a Jeep truck? It had the Ray-Bans like branding all over it with his. I wanted to find out more about that.
Well, we're gonna see that truck in Soho in about a week at an activation, I'd imagine.
Yeah, again, I won't pretend to even, like, I didn't watch Belly. I won't pretend to know all the ins and outs of it, but I am really curious about the details. And if you look at the comments of, the video that A$AP Rocky put on his Instagram and a lot of the breakdowns, the comments are all people really like pointing out the details. They're showing like, oh, like you see this on the wall, or like the music, or this or that, or he's even wearing this. And it's like people care about that stuff. And it's like art direction sometimes is the idea and sometimes it serves the idea. But either way, I think people appreciate even when the framing of, you know, a story is done with intention, with detail.
Yeah, that's great. And then the last thing we want to talk about, this is a Jason Murray special. Really, really interesting story, honestly. But Nike All Conditions gear relaunched in the beginning of February. They were quietly releasing new products from ACG, that sub-brand of Nike, last fall, and then they do their formal relaunch in early February. Nike All Conditions gear is such an interesting just story in itself. I feel like the thing to me that's super interesting is it started really based off of in the 70s. Jason, you pointed this out to me. In the 70s, it was like these guys hiked a mountain wearing Nike running shoes because like that was what they were wearing.
Yeah.
Kind of like spawned this whole sub brand. And then they put out the film really that I think is the main thing is really talking about the planet as a playground. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of, it's up against this phrase of this gorpcore, if you will. So that's kind of, I want to lay that out there for
Jason,
the people.
I'm going to need you to break this down.
Yeah, Jason, break this down for us. What's going on?
What's gorpcore?
Gorpcore. There's a kind of a decade or so where gorpcore essentially referring to the outdoor apparel really becoming just fashion, the sort of Gore-Tex materials, and it's like you're not even using the utility of that stuff. You're wearing Sauconys or whatever, or those Sauconys.
Solomons. The Solomons.
Is that gorpcore?
Solomons, but you're not actually climbing the mountains and stuff like that. But honestly, this relaunch for me, you could look at it as like a nostalgia play on one hand. I think, you know, a lot of things right now are kind of playing on our nostalgia heartstrings. But for me, this relaunch is a little bit more intentional than just nostalgia, and it really goes back to the story that Jack had mentioned. It goes back to the original advertising and kind of a outdoor advertising in its heyday. Like Jack mentioned, the hikers that climbed to the top of K2, they did it in flimsy Nike shoes, and then sent those shoes or sent a picture of the shoes to Nike, and that's what spawned ACG. Nike had no plans of creating an outdoor line, but after they saw like, oh, we could actually make shoes that are better than that because their shoes weren't made to hike to the top of K2. But it's also what kind of influenced the energy of the ads at that time. This kind of craziness and absurdity. Like, why would these insane hikers hike to the top of K2 in Nike running shoes? And that absurdity energy is in all of the old spots. It's like super hilarious stuff. It's super irreverent, like more ads that there's more swearing and they're talking about this or that. And it's like that irreverence is really what outdoor culture is more about. It is a little bit absurd. It is a little insane. Like the outdoors is trying to kill you. You've got these crazy people that are pushing themselves to the limits. So this latest launch is about the planet as an amusement park. And they're positioning planet Earth as, you know, the greatest amusement park ever. And it kind of makes me think of like Action Park, that like famous New Jersey, I think, amusement park that had a lot of legal trouble. But anyways, I've been obsessed with the art direction, dug a lot into it because I noticed so many of the references in the art direction felt like the original work. It felt like a return to the original work. Similar absurdity, the VFX and like animation is super lo-fi. It's like super 90s. There's a couple different social spots that don't try to make it super realistic. It's more about the surrealism of the outdoors and helping you kind of feel just how crazy and absurd the outdoors really is. But even the concept of the amusement park and the Earth as an amusement park, if you dig into the old work, they even mention that in the spot. So for me, I just have to give the creative team kudos. White and Kennedy, they did the hero spots, the Earth as the World of Endless Attraction spot. There's 2 other videos that they did. They hired Jackass co-creator Jeff Tremaine to create those. But yeah, my kudos is to the White and Kennedy creative team, because it's clear they really dove into the old work. They pulled, references and concepts from the original work. And for me, as like an outdoorsy guy, it just feels more relatable, even though it is like surreal and a little absurd and stuff. The nature and the outdoors has just been treated like way too polished and way too much with like reverence. Like you see these like beautiful picturesque Instagram photos or, things like that. So it's just fun to see them really taking big risks and making the outdoors feel as wild as it really is. So those are some of the details and capturing a little bit of the story behind it.
Yeah, it's great. That they're kind of, it almost makes me feel like they're getting back to why this line of clothing exists in the first place. Like we went a little bit too far in terms of almost even like the side of like the seriousness and like how like I just feel like I've seen a lot of these outdoor clothing ads and it just feels so serious, and it's like these people are so intense in these ads. I'm like, holy
say
shit.
a brand.
I'm trying to think of what a good example would be, but like even I don't know. I think of Solomon, and I think it's like so
Solomon,
serious
for sure. Running brands right now are like super serious, super intense. And no, you're right. Like it shows that they're repositioning and really focusing on actual outdoor people. Or their target of, more outdoorsy people. I think that could be debatable because Nike isn't necessarily the most known for the technical outdoor quality. They don't have like the biggest history with the outdoors. But for me, like I'm not as intense into like the fashion world. I am a little bit more on the outdoor side, and it feels like a return to stuff that outdoor people actually think. Like outdoor people are a little insane. Like they're all a little crazy. And even like you can see glimpses in even just like the tone of how they're treating it. Again, their irreverence of it, it's not super, I don't know how to say it. Like they're swearing, they're cussing, like different things like that just feel like when you're out in the outdoors, there are no rules. So I think it's really great.
Yeah, it's like the people, the hardcore like outdoors people don't care about really like the fashion aspect. Like that's kind of how it's weird how that's kind of how these brands or these fashion things take off, is because the people that don't care about fashion wear them a lot, and then people are like, oh, like the hardcore outdoorsy people are wearing it, like that's cool, I want to be cool like them, and then they wear it and they're like, oh shit.
Cotopaxi.
What's that?
It's like the colorful outdoor brand.
Yep. Based out of Utah. A lot of colorful backpacks. You see those all the time. Mm-hmm.
I see the like people on like the subway, like rocking those, like people going to their corporate jobs, because it reflects to me, it's a signal to me that wow, they work, but they also know how to play.
Yeah, they got some stuff going on. They got stuff going on outside of work.
They're hiking up to the 20th floor of their corporate office building for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's great. Nike All Conditions gear. Let's keep an eye out for that. Some of the work coming out of there, because it is it's a little bit different from your typical Nike work too. I feel like I think it's I don't know. It doesn't feel the same. It feels the same but different in the way that they're making it. So we'll keep our eye on that. You should too. Shout out to Wyden on all that. But that was the Creative Corner with Jason Murray, your art director's favorite art director.
Love that.
You could tell he loves that stuff, and that's why he's going to be a recurring guest on this show, Jack.
He just knows so much more than I do.
Yeah,
I almost feel hesitant to ever talk about creative work because he's just got such a great brain for it. Jason Murray, shout out. Next, this is a fun one. This is a big get for us. I feel like Nick Heller aka New York Nico, is going to join us here in a second, Gino. The unofficial talent scout of New York. You've seen his Instagram. One of the greats, like one of the OGs of content.
Well,
in
how
New
would
York.
you describe his Instagram and like his content for the people that might not be in the New York algorithm?
He's like I don't even know if anyone's calling it like an anthropologist for New York. Like such good content, telling stories. He's got such an interesting background. But what I love about our guy New York Nico is he sits on both sides. Like what he's doing right now with Revival of the Fittest on Instagram, this very lo-fi shot on iPhone, reality TV style episodic series, as well as the fact that he's worked on commercials. He directed the LeBron Decision 2.0 with Hennessy. So he sits on both sides of the coin. So if you're someone that works in advertising and marketing, you want to understand how someone has had like decade plus of success creating content, both commercially and just like for stories, for the love of the game. Nick Heller, he's the man.
I think every advertising strategist should follow his content of understanding culture, where insights come from, how people react to stuff, and like how they just operate in the wild here. He's influenced a lot of culture too, which I think is interesting.
He is. I put him up there with like a Casey Neistat.
He had his wedding where?
He has wedding at Katz's Deli. It says New York is New York Gats. His story of how he became New York Nico is fascinating too. Let's kick it to Nick Heller, aka New York Nico.
Excited to have you on, sir.
New York Nico. It's New York Nico time, and we're pumped.
Thanks for
This is
having
a big
me.
deal. Legend.
Appreciate it.
Couple million followers across social. One of the great storytellers in New York history. I'll say it.
Yep, the unofficial talent scout of New York City, Jack.
I love it. And so, Nico, how you feeling?
Feeling good. Thanks for having me, guys.
It's a pleasure to have you. You know, it's funny. Like we ask or we try to figure out like for different graphics, like what's this person's title? Usually it's pretty simple. Usually it's like they're a creative director, chief creative CMO kind of thing. Yours was a little bit different. I'm curious, when you introduce yourself, what do you call yourself as like a title?
Well, I'm curious what you put.
I'll tell you.
Or were you waiting on me?
It's just a blank. It's a blank space right now. No, it's I've got commercial director, documentarian, social media personality. Thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends who's asking. Usually, I just like keep it simple and say the unofficial talent scout of New York, because I feel like that sort of like encapsulates everything. But no, I mean, I guess commercial director, documentarian, social media guy. I wouldn't say personality because I'm not much of a personality myself, but the people I platform are personalities. I do some other little things here and there, but yeah, that's satisfactory, I think.
Perfect. I'll take that every time.
I have a broad question, and then we could probably narrow it down and get a little bit tighter here. But like, I guess, what would you say is the current state of social media, either in the New York sphere of influence or what you're observing in your personal algorithm? Can you give us a quick rundown from your POV on what you're seeing with social media algorithm-wise?
Algorithm-wise, I mean, it's changed a lot in the last 2 years. Maybe it's been longer. My algorithm, like I feel like people aren't seeing my videos as much anymore on New York Nico. Like my followers aren't, and it's been a little discouraging because I'll spend like a ton of time, finding the story and then editing it and putting it out into the world and expecting it to, do numbers and help this person that I'm trying to platform. But it doesn't do the numbers that it would have, a couple of years ago. And it's discouraging. And I've been trying to like figure out how to overcome that. And I think I finally did. I started this new series at the beginning of this year called Revival of the Fittest, which I can get into a little later. But I think what I came to realize is like I need a formula. Like the New York Nico page doesn't really have a formula. It's just whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it. But a series, you know, something that you can post consistently every day or every other day with, you know, something that the viewer can expect each time, I think is what performs well in this day and age. I think that that's what the algorithm likes to see. And I've been finding a lot of success. Sorry, go ahead.
Just a quick follow-up on that. Do you actually, because we create content as well, do you recommend creating like a new page for that, or do you keep that all on the New York Nico page?
I did create another page for that. So at literally January 1st, I started this new series. It's called Revival of the Fittest, and I started a new page for it. And the first few videos I would like collab post with New York Nico, just to sort of like get some of my followers to this new page. But, you know, slowly, not even slowly, but surely, very, very quickly, it started getting like a fan base of its own. So now it's at almost 100,000 on Instagram, 170,000 on TikTok. And that's in less than 2 months.
Wow.
So yeah, and I'm just having a lot of fun with it. You know, like I was very reluctant to do something to feed the algorithm because I thought it would feel forced, but this is like this. I'm having a blast with this show. I'm having so much fun with it. It's like exactly what I've been wanting to do, and I didn't realize that it was like literally right under my nose the whole time.
It's awesome. I've watched every single video.
Oh wow, thanks.
Yeah, of course. Hey, thank you.
Episode. We don't call them videos. Episodes.
Episodes, got you.
Yeah.
I'll tell that to the person that started calling it a video to me, so it's their fault, not mine. The episodes are so good, and I think it is. It feels very much like you, but to your point, like you're just kind of changing the format and how you distribute it. Like that's just kind of the difference. But you're telling the story of like these very real people, and that's what makes it so good. Is that you're listening in on real conversations. Nothing feels forced. It feels like everyone's having fun, and you just feel that as the audience. And I guess like it leads to my question, because I assume you shoot all that on iPhone. It looks like, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's all iPhone, and you also are a commercial director. And so there's a lot of discourse these days around like production shoots that have 500 people, and you're like, wow, this is so much money. It's so expensive. When at the same time, there's people that are getting millions and millions of views with just an iPhone. I'm curious, because you kind of sit on both sides, what it's like working on a production commercial shoot versus doing something like this where you're just shooting it with an iPhone.
I mean, that's a great question. I definitely don't want to say that, you know, you can scrap all these big budget shoots and do everything with an iPhone, because that's not true, but it would also get me in trouble because my primary source of income is working on these commercials. But like, for example, I just shot a Burger King commercial last week, and that was like a big shoot for something they sort of like hired me because of what I do on social and like my ability to work with real people. So it's interesting. Like I don't think that, I mean, I know I wouldn't be able to get the same effect with that commercial if it was just me and my phone. You know, they want something that's TV quality. You know, there's obviously Burger King is a huge client, so they have a lot of expectations. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's a sort of a time and a place for everything. I feel like, you know, I don't know. It's very hard for me to say because I'm on both sides. It's like I think that both approaches have their positives and their negatives. But I'm very grateful that I'm able to do both.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, it kind of feels. It's almost. It depends on the message. Like you know, you're almost because. For like Revival of the Fittest, if it was super high quality production, it probably wouldn't feel the same. Similarly, if I was watching a Burger King ad that was just like,
and it was shot, right,
you'd be like,
that's a great point. Totally, like I like that Revival of the Fittest feels super homemade. You know, like it just feels like a guy in his phone who stumbled in on this record shop and just started filming people. Whereas if you were to take that same approach and applied it to a Burger King commercial that's playing on TV, it might feel cheap. So yeah, there's a time and a place for it all.
And I wanted to ask about because you directed the LeBron Decision 2.0 Hennessy work. That had to be pretty freaking cool. Like, you're working with Bron. At the same time, LeBron at one point, for his decision, I believe the New York Knicks were kind of in the running there. So listen, for you, that feels like a conflict of interest. What was it like working on that?
That was a really fun project. Obviously, I'm a diehard Knicks fan, and was destroyed when he played with our hearts. But yeah, no, it was fun. I did not expect it to have the impact that it had. I knew that we were going to do some kind of a teaser, but I didn't realize that the teaser was going to be so ambiguous that everyone and their mother was speculating whether or not it was an actual decision and if he was going to retire or not. I was actually very nervous when that was happening because I thought that somehow I was going to be to blame for this. And the people who were betting on his retirement would get mad at me, and the people buying these tickets would get mad at me. But one guy sued LeBron because he bought
Guilty.
tickets. Was that you? Yeah, you bought $900 Laker tickets. But yeah, that was interesting. That's a perfect example of like when you are shooting something and you don't expect sort of the impact that it's going to end up having. Like that day was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. That was a wild, like, rarely do you have moments that actually do kind of like take over the internet. And that one felt like it did take over the internet for a little bit, where people were like, people buying tickets is crazy. But that to that point, like not knowing where something's going to go, I feel like that's a big part of like the documentary game. And a big part of your origin story. I don't know how many people like know the origin story, but I saw a video of you explaining it a while ago of becoming New York Nico, where you just went up to this character in Union Square, 6'7", rapping, dreadlocks, white guy, and you're just asked to make a documentary about him, and you never made a documentary before, and then that just kind of was the first moment. And in the documentary game, I just would love to hear your perspective on. In a lot of cases, that you probably don't know where the story is going to end up. Even with Revival of the Fittest, you don't really know where the conversation is going to go. Can you talk about balancing that idea of like kind of having an idea of a script and keeping some organization to it, but also letting people just do what they do?
Yeah. I mean, Revival of the Fittest is just like the perfect example because, I have no idea where this show is going. Like, there's some like very minorly scripted elements that I think people kind of they know are scripted, but for the most part it's just like real people talking shit. If they start harping on something like Rob and his Iron Maiden tickets, obviously in the back of my head as a filmmaker, I'm like, oh well, we got to get him to Iron Maiden and have that be like a narrative arc. But it's weird because like Rob has been a friend of mine for a decade, and like even if we weren't doing Revival of the Fittest, that would still be my goal to like get these tickets. But I don't know if we're gonna get the tickets. Like, they're all sold out right now. I mean, I guess worst case scenario, I'll just buy tickets at the last minute. But I think because of the success of the show, we can get some VIP treatment and maybe get the Iron Maiden guys to the shop. Yeah. But I just love the idea that I'm kind of just like rolling with the punches, and don't really have any expectations, don't really have anything planned. Like, I have the second season coming up and I don't really have anything planned for it, but it's going to come up naturally. And I think that that's really exciting. It keeps it exciting for me,
Yeah, we're excited as well. I think what people love about you is the A word, authenticity. But I from your perspective, I want to get inside your brain and understand which brands out there today that you respect, that you see, that maybe you're not involved with, but you actually admire from your perspective.
Oh man, that's a really good question. What brands do I admire? I think Nike does really great stuff. My friend Kimu does a lot of their creative direction. He does some really great work with them. Everything feels like super authentic. Obviously, it's this huge brand, right, Nike, but he's able to, just make it feel very authentic, and nothing feels like overly contrived. Who else? Man, I'm sure there's a bunch, but I'm just blanking. I don't know. I don't have like a list of brands that I think
this
are
is
doing.
the answer that I would want though. From, like I don't. He's like I don't. I just go. I go shoot my guys or Revival the Fittest.
I gotta be honest with you. I don't know, man. I don't know. but they're like, I'm just trying to think of if there are like any ads that I've seen recently that I really liked. The Super Bowl commercials were kind of a dud this year. That's the first thing that my head is going towards. I don't know. You'd have to come back to me. And that's not me being like, oh, nothing's good. It's just like I don't have a section of my brain that like retains that.
Yeah. The interesting thing now, and it kind of is like a bigger theme though, is like the idea of branded entertainment, where like there's a lot of brands that are kind of doing or trying to do the thing of creating a episodic series on social that's like, behind it is a brand. And this line between and branded entertainment, people keep saying like, you'll love this. People keep saying that branded entertainment is just entertainment, and it's getting to a point where like, brands are just gonna be Hollywood.
Right.
And so that's kind of like the new way of advertising, is because it's all like on social. It's all social first. Totally. And I guarantee there's so many like pitch decks right now at brands for marketers that are like, let's do Revival of the Fittest for fiber.
Totally. Yeah, no, I mean, and a lot of people have already reached out to like be a sponsor for the show, which I don't want to do that. Like, I just want this to sort of like be my thing where I don't have to answer to anybody. And it's like, it helps the record shop. It helps all the people on the store. It helps me because it's like this passion project that I didn't even know I've been wanting to do for my whole life. But that's not to say that I wouldn't do like, another branded series. I don't think it would be as successful by any means, because I'm going to have to be answering to higher powers that, have an agenda to sell their product. But I'd be open to something like that. But Revival of the Fittest right now is like the main focus, and just like sort of keeping it as is, keeping me, and everyone, Jamal, Rob, Irma, where like, we decide where the show goes.
Yeah, it's great. Well, we gotta stop by. Would love to. We gotta see this in action sometime. Get some boots on the ground, investigative journalism going.
Well, there's a couch now, so if you guys ever want to come by and just hang out on the couch, you're welcome to.
That is an official invite. We'll take that for sure. That is on the record. Well, thank you so much, Nick Heller, aka New York Nico. Appreciate you taking the time. Absolute legend. Everyone go check out Revival of the Fittest on Instagram. Support. And if you're in Greenwich Village, go buy a damn record, for Christ's sake. Come on. That was New York Nico. Now we're going coast to coast. We're bringing in Warner Bailey. Nobody has a better finger on the pulse of Hollywood than Warner Bailey. He's the founder of Assistants vs. Agents, the go-to source in Hollywood for what's happening in the entertainment industry. Started as a meme page, Gino. What else you got on this?
He doesn't work for Warner Brothers. I think that's a clear distinction that we need to make. His name is Warren, does not work for Warner Brothers. We're talking entertainment here. Just want to clarify that first and foremost. But he is incredible, and he covers the entertainment industry kind of like how we cover the ad industry. And really, those worlds are very similar. A little bit of an outdated model, finding something new in a fragmented audience, but he's going to teach us about where the attention's heading, Jack.
Yeah, he got some great takes about Hollywood, the state of the industry. He's very optimistic, very similar to us. But he, getting into this notion of branded entertainment just becoming entertainment, and how advertising and entertainment are starting to converge.
They're besties.
They're besties. You say he's not Warner Bros, but Warner's my bro. And I feel like that's an important thing to note. But let's bring him in. Warner Bailey, the founder of Assistants vs. Agents. They've also got a news site. Go check them out, Mailcart. Great conversation. Let's get it going. Bring him in. Warner Bailey, founder of Assistants vs. Agents. He's our Hollywood correspondent, people. Warner, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be on.
Well, you're a legend. I think Assistants vs. Agents, people talk about, you talk about really being tapped into a niche, the Hollywood entertainment industry, like kind of what's, behind the celebrities, and Warner and company have done a great job with that. So I think for this conversation, really interested because of how close brand, entertainment, and entertainment are coming together. Advertising and Hollywood feel like there's a ton of overlap.
There's a blend. I
And
see Warner coming on the show more often.
yeah, I could see more Warner in our future, Gino.
That was nice, Jeff.
Thank you. So I think that, want to start there. Hollywood is such a hot topic, and it gets such a, people have such hot opinions about Hollywood and the state of Hollywood today. Warner, I'm curious, based on, the people that you talk to, you speak with plenty of people that work in the industry. What's the sentiment over there on the West Coast about the state of Hollywood?
Yeah, look, you got to split Hollywood into two. There's the legacy Hollywood that everyone looks at, the studios, the streamers, everything on, TV. They used to control distribution. They control the talent, all the attention. But this mass flow of creator economy, projects, budgets coming in on the brand side as well has never been greater. And there's just a narrative in the trades that Hollywood's dying, that it's dead, it's shrinking. And sure, if you look at that legacy model, that's true, but there has never been more opportunity in the industry to work in it, definitely to create content in it and monetize things you're doing. Look at what you're all doing right now. And we'll go into some of the other people I admire in the space that I think are paving the way for a new class of creators. But I'm sick of the trades, telling the next generation that our industry's dead. And I'm just seeing more opportunity than ever. So
I guess like that old school, the legacy approach there, what are some of those, I guess what's been some of the issues that there's more opportunity flooding now? What with the legacy Hollywood, what's been flawed with it recently?
Yeah, you look at post-COVID, there's a big reset, there were strikes, there's shrinking budgets into projects, mass layoffs have been, seen now. But there's also shrinking at the top. We'll see what happens with Warner Bros. I have an opinion on it that we'll see how it shakes out. I write a lot about it. But there's a shrinking group of people who control power and, again, distribution. But the flip side of that is now the platforms control the distribution. The creators are controlling, all of the attention. I was just reading, I think 56% of Gen Z prefers, social content versus traditional TV film. So there's an attention issue, certainly. And also the ad budgets are shrinking. I think ad budgets for TV dropped from like 15 point something down to 14 and look to be shrinking down to 13 for TV ads. That's your world. You probably know the facts better than I do. But and then brand dollars, right? Like where brands are going to follow where the eyeballs are going. So instead of funding or putting their money into traditional projects, it's flowing right to the creator economy and on digital. So with all those shifts, and then you have, costs rising is another big thing. We won't talk about AI, maybe we will, but that's a big central issue right now to why we're seeing, again, the shrinking of Hollywood from a traditional lens.
Yeah,
it's very similar to the ad industry.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like the traditional big agency model, some of the similar challenges, and now we're seeing some new boutique shops.
I know it's so interesting because everything follows just where the attention is.
Yeah.
So it's the same exact situation. Let's get in. I want to ask your thoughts because I feel like I'm undereducated on the whole Warner Brothers, Netflix, Paramount dilemma.
It's awesome.
I think besides the whole Succession-esque vibe to it all, Warner, what are you looking out for based on, however it shakes out, what's your eye on the situation of the Warner Brothers deal? And can you just break it down for like an idiot like me who doesn't really understand what's going on?
Yeah, look, I'm an idiot as well. I'm still learning. But the one thing that Hollywood's really focused on is how it'll affect distribution. If you look at Warner Bros., there's a tradition of amazing films and movies. You look at Sinners and others more recently that have done incredible because of the cultural way that they've shifted the audience's lens towards the film or the experience because they're in theaters. And you can name a lot of those films that Warner Bros. has produced or created. And if Netflix goes and does buy Warner Bros., and the CEO just went on Matt Bellamy, the Town, big fan of his podcast, and said that they are going to continue to distribute films in theaters. But I think the smart person will say that doesn't help Netflix in viewership numbers to continue to rise. So I think a lot of those films will go straight to Netflix distribution, although CEO of Netflix said that's not going to be the case. We'll see how that shakes out. I think that's probably the biggest effect you'll see is AMC just released their figures that they had a decline in Q1, which actually was a little surprising to me. But you'll continue to see more films go direct to streaming if that is the case over time, certainly.
Yeah, so you just always, I mean, that kind of fucking sucks, right? Like I love going to the theater. I love that experience, and then it's just tough. Like, I love Netflix for a lot of reasons, but at the same time, it just doesn't feel the same when I watch something for the first time, like a new release comes and it goes straight to Netflix.
I thought I saw that Paramount increased their offer recently within the past couple of days of recording this on February.
We have a rotating meme of the Warner Bros. Water tower where it's like Paramount logo up there. Paramount Sundance will have a Netflix logo on top of the Paramount. But who knows what will happen? It's hard to track, and whenever this comes out, something else will have happened by then. But I think they gave them we call it a 7-day hall pass that's probably expired now to counter, make a final decision and offer. But we'll see. I think top of March is when we'll get a clear answer on how that shakes out. But look,
What's the big difference? What is the difference? Like if Paramount wins the offer versus Netflix, what can we expect from that?
It's gonna be the distribution angle, and that's like the core of what Hollywood's pushing back on now. The theater business, how fans are gonna receive and view content. He said they're gonna keep them separate if it does go to Netflix. I think Netflix buying them is certainly a bigger threat to the traditional legacy model. I think it's going to end up happening anyways, the continued consolidation and theater business slowing and more projects going straight to streaming. And then, we'll talk about how social fits into all that, which I'm extremely bullish on. Obviously we're here and, we're doing similar things in our industries. But yeah, it's a bigger threat, from a traditional lens if Netflix does purchase Warner Bros. But, you have Paramount with seemingly endless money. And that's a threat also, certainly, because won't get into it, but family ties. They own the distribution on TikTok. Is there then, an incentive to, or at least his family does, to then look at a different model as well there. So either one's a threat. Either one, I think, is unfortunate, but it's the reality of our industry right now.
Yeah. I remember seeing this, you talk about the effects of like Netflix having pretty much ownership all over all of like Hollywood and what traditional movies were. The like Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, The Rip, which was a Netflix streaming movie, and that article about how I think it was Matt Damon being like, yeah, when we were making it, like some of the Netflix execs or the representatives from there were like, hey, do you mind, re-explaining the plot pretty much several times throughout the movie to account for the fact that the people that watch Netflix don't really pay attention. They're like on their phones half the time. So you need to like re-explain. It's like watching a children's show, which I do appreciate, honestly.
And they have to have like the fight scene within like the first, or the big action scene within like the first 10 minutes just to capture attention.
I mean, I'm pulling my phone out 30 seconds in and not paying attention. My attention span's that of a goldfish with a shorter attention span than normal. But again, like going back to that 56% of Gen Z saying social content is more relevant to them in their life than TV film. I was listening to a Colin Samir podcast, who I love, creator economy guys. They're doing amazing stuff in their world. 95 million posts are uploaded to Instagram a day, 23 million TikToks. I think it was 20 million YouTube videos. So you're seeing an abundance of content regardless of where you're sitting. And now I think would love to chat on your opinion too about the power of where niches sit and where attention is commanded. And you're pulling a roulette wheel every time you're on social, and that's a whole separate conversation. But in terms of what you're fed and the content you're seeing now, so regardless of really what's happening on the traditional Hollywood model, distribution, consolidation, there's a massive shift towards social and an abundance of content that is probably a bigger issue given that half of the internet now is created by AI, and they just read that 20 to 30% of every YouTube video is also created purely by AI. So regardless of what shakes out in traditional Hollywood, that I'm seeing as a much bigger issue, is the content explosion and abundance problem right now.
Yeah, I do think that I do feel still optimistic about Hollywood's ability to adapt, because like you see in A24, I think that they, there's still opportunity for like traditional, I guess, but like a film company to be able to have success on social, to use it as a distribution platform, to get people to watch the movie. I still feel like you could do that in like, there's no better place or no better resources in the world than in Hollywood to make that still feasible. So that's what I just think, that the tactics just have to change, right, Warner? Like it's becoming more social, and to your point, and we see it all like with our content, owning or trying to own a niche, being very specific, tapping into subcultures. The best place to do that is on social, and A24 with their build-ups, the Marty Supreme stuff, like they're really attaching themselves to those sub niches.
I've never been more bullish on this industry in general. I think there's a massive shift, but there's so much, again, opportunity. Theaters although they're seeing decline, like the top end movies are doing extremely well. I went to Marty Supreme; it was absolutely packed. Weeks after that it was released in film. But to your point about niche, that is where I'm putting all my emphasis and focus on. What you guys are doing, the marketing ad world, you Feed Me, Emily Sundberg, like TBPN and the tech world, who are just doing like incredible things in their world on the live stream aspect. I mentioned Colin and Samira for the creator economy, but then you take that to studios like A24, Neon's in that world as well, where like A24 can put out anything and their super fans will go and watch it and buy their merch and subscribe to their membership program. So, and like, how often do you see someone wearing like a Disney or Hulu logo on their shirt versus like I would rock an A24 logo on my shirt? So like there are these new era of college studio brands that people have deep allegiance to. And will continue to create, incredible content. I think also the original film, boom in the last couple months has been exciting to see, and Marty Supreme was one of them.
Yeah, the even in like this new age, just thinking about even your audience, I do feel like things have changed a little bit, but the world of like talent representation feels like it's never been stronger with the rise of like how many people can be a creator. Like you've just seen an explosion of content creators and like influencers that are in need of representation. So it feels like, I don't know, is that correct? That although it's not movie stars anymore and it's not Devil Wears Prada-esque situations, it's like I think the world of representation is super strong right now.
Yeah, there's more management companies and agencies than ever. The entertainment industry is more fractured and fragmented than it's ever been, which gives more opportunity to more people. Because I worked at WME. That was my pathway into entertainment. It took me 6 months to get an interview. Never been to LA. Got the job on a Thursday, moved out on a Sunday, and like that was really the only path in. And that was only 8 years ago, right? Like I was in DC, from Philly, like not big hubs of entertainment. Now you can have, if you have a laptop or access to internet, you can create a real business around a community, grow a niche, start a podcast, write on Substack or Beehive, grow a newsletter. I think it's there's never been a more exciting time to be in entertainment. You just have to stretch what the definition of entertainment is in your eyes. And I think that's hard for a lot of people who have been in this business for a while. But for this upcoming generation, you all are doing exactly what I just had mentioned. Carve a niche out, create content that's educational, that's giving people resources, and there's endless opportunity for where you all and hopefully us and many others that fit that narrative can take it.
Love it. If we have time for a bonus
question.
question.
Bonus question. Stick around. This bonus question is brought to you by Assistants vs. Agents, your number one source for Hollywood entertainment news. Gino, over to you.
Warner, final question for you today. What does Hollywood look like in 5 years from now? Check your crystal ball for us and let us know.
Look, if I had the answer, I wouldn't be sitting here in my office. I'd be sitting on a big house up on the hill. But I am extremely optimistic about where this industry is headed because of the young talent that's coming through and sitting in leadership positions now. I think it will be in a year or two indistinguishable between what is AI and what is not. And so I think those that are investing deeply in community, again, going back to niches, are going to win. And I think, content will continue to remain king, and there will be an endless crop of content, but that those that develop a community and trust right now are going to be the ones that win in 5 years. But who knows, man? Who knows what will happen in 5 days from now? We're moving quick over here in Hollywood, but I'm excited to be involved in this business and see this next generation coming up to lead.
Bonus question.
Do it.
Yeah, hit me with another one. Who's this one presented by? This one's presented by Breaking and Entering.
That's right. This one's presented by me, coming to you live. Warner, have you ever seen the movie Swingers?
I haven't. Should I?
Fuck. Okay, then I revoke that. In the movie Swingers, look it up. It's very Hollywood, very LA.
I'm gonna look up Swingers on Google right now. I'll probably get canceled.
Got the Vince Vaughn in it?
Yeah, it's young Vince Vaughn, Jon Favreau. It is like following these young actors in Hollywood trying to make it. Early 90s, great film. But they go to all these parties in the hills, and there's like these house parties, and it's just like a who's who crew. I was just going to ask if that is real, and if it is real, can I come to these cool Hollywood parties?
Well, let's take, Entourage as an example. That's what I grew up on. We actually we screened Entourage, the movie with Rex Lee. Shout out Lloyd, icon. I think there's definitely that. I've aged out of that, of those times. But early in the career, look, it's an exciting place to be in LA. I don't know what 95% of people do here for work. I don't think they work at all, but that stuff goes on. I'm not getting invited. I'm not cool enough to be invited to those parties. But when I do, you both will be the first invite.
That is what is up. This is what I'm finding is that we wrap up all these interviews with cool people. We just like put people on the spot live and be like, so we're good to go, right? And like you have no choice.
Yeah, you're on the list. Wait, yeah, you're on the list. I just checked. Both you're on the list tonight.
You just gotta ask. It's a great lesson. Well, Warner Bailey, you are the man. Thank you so much for joining us. Go check out Warner Bailey. Assistants vs. Agents also just launched a little bit of news, Hollywood news. Mail Cart, it's called, correct?
Mail Cart, our new resource-driven platform. We have a live show coming. We got a lot of stuff, scripted series potentially in the works. Who knows? We'll stay tuned. But thank you guys for having me on, man. You guys are doing amazing stuff. Huge fans of you all from afar. And let's do this again. I like the opposite coasts. I want to hear some news. What's going on in your world?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Thank you, Warner.
Thank you.
Hey, we went coast to coast. Now the focus is on Middle America. Wall Street Journal article came out last week that said Madison Avenue is in crisis. Midwestern ad agencies see an opportunity. That was written by Katy Dayton, great reporter over at the Journal.
Great.
And to speak on this, we have one of the featured people in that article. Katy Hornaday is the CEO of BarkleyOKRP. We're going to talk about this notion that the Middle America is now having a moment in advertising as these major holding companies maybe are going through a little bit of shift.
Yeah, no better person to talk about this too, because Barkley and OKRP merged together a couple of years ago. I believe Barkley was based in Kansas City, and then OKRP based in Chicago. You got the Midwest values here, brought them together, making a large independent agency, one of the largest ones out there, Jack. So you don't need to be in LA, you don't need to be in New York to be a good ad agency. Well,
that's the argument that the article is kind of making, and getting to those roots, but also how much more even the playing field is for smaller agencies that aren't on the coast to tap into the data, the technology that's much more available than it was even 2-3 years ago.
Our next HQ is going to be in Des Moines, Iowa, Jack.
That's breaking news. Well, with that being said, let's bring her in. Katy Hornaday, CEO of BarkleyOKRP. Ladies and gentlemen, Katy Hornaday, CEO of BarkleyOKRP, joins the show. Katy, how you doing?
Good morning. I am so good. I'm so good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, it's great to have you here. Watch this. Dramatic. Madison Avenue is in crisis. Midwestern ad agencies see an opportunity. That's the Wall Street Journal article that everybody has their eyes on right now. Written by Katy Dayton. Great reporting by her, by the way. Shout out. Katy, you see this headline. BarkleyOKRP, obviously a part of this report and this broader idea of Middle America, big indie. When you see the headline, what's going through your mind? What's your reaction?
I have to send this to my mom. I was like, I made it to the Wall Street Journal, Mom. That first. And then also, I think it felt really validating for some of the stuff we're starting to see. And
Right.
for me, Katy, you're right. It's weird since we share a name, but Katy had this great thought, this premise of sort of connecting the dots of what's happening in the holdcos, and she reached out and asked if we would be willing to talk about it. And it was kind of a fascinating piece to be a part of because we weren't necessarily sitting in the Midwest going, gosh, we're just, having a lot of momentum because we're in the Midwest. But I think overall the theme is a lot of clients looking for just something different, While there's a little bit of instability and things are changing, where are there opportunities to maybe find an agency model or even the roots of an agency being somewhere other than what we've seen for so long?
And I'm curious about that. And from your perspective, if you agree that Madison Avenue might be in a crisis right now, what are some of the issues that have caused it? And what are like the heartland or what are the non-coastal?
That's the word I learned.
Non-coastal.
This is a phrase that I'm becoming more privy to myself. Non-coastal.
I like that. So what are the non-coastal shops getting right? And I'll say the question again. If Madison Avenue is in crisis, what is exactly broken inside the big agency model, and what are the non-coastal agencies getting right?
Well, I will say, I don't think it's for me to define if they're in crisis or not. But I do think that what you're seeing with the mergers and, the thing that blows my mind is 100,000 people being part of one agency. And what does that mean? I think there's a lot of sussing out to do. And I think when an agency environment feels a little unstable, what does that signal to a client? And what does it signal to the people who work there? I think those are sort of the interesting pieces of it. We're starting to talk to a lot of talent who are saying, being part of these holding companies, that's shifting the way that I approach my job or how I feel about how I service my client. And I think those are places where it gets a little scary for clients. Who am I speaking to every day, and who cares deeply about my brand and how to sort of connect the pieces and help us be successful? And so I think that's where we're seeing opportunity. Obviously, it's my job as the CEO of BarkleyOKRP to believe deeply in the model that we have, but we have scale, so it's not a small boutique where you have to stitch a lot of boutiques together, but we also aren't so big that you feel like you're going to get lost in it. And I think there's some magic in that hasn't existed in the market in the past.
Yeah, I keep drawing back to this thought. You see with advancements in technology, it is the responsibility of an advertising agency to use technology to optimize and make them better at their jobs. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. But then you almost get to a point where do you feel like it's gone too far? And that's kind of what the article makes the case of, in my opinion, is this reliance on data and technology to provide information about your audience almost has removed the notion of going and meeting your audience and actually talking to real humans, because you feel like you can get all that data from different sources and technology. Do you feel like we've gone too far in data to where marketing has become way less human and way more reliant on stats and personas?
You know what? I'd actually look at it a different way. I think that holding companies have made deep investments for a long time in data and in technology, but they made them a long time ago, and everything is changing so much that it takes a lot to unwind all of that at their scale. The great part about data and technology now is agencies of our scale and smaller have access to it much more readily. You can build things faster. You don't need the capital of a holding company to have really the tools that you need to meet that need and to marry it with caring about the consumer, being close to actual people, and bringing those things together. They've been building this thing for a really, really long time, and it's gotten so large that now they have to figure out how do you use that in a world that's shifting every day.
Yeah, it's almost like it just feels like almost a different business model. I'm thinking about these between a smaller middle America indie agency versus a holding company. I just think that the business models are different. To me, it just feels on the outside, it does feel different. Katy, is that way off base?
No, I mean, I think it is different. I think you also look at, I believe it was Adweek when they first announced the Omnicom merger. You saw the sprawling org chart of all of the agencies that were a part of it. that's a complicated model to figure out. How do you bring those things together? And when you bring those things together, how are they all speaking the same language that's in service of that same singular client? Maybe sometimes you end up with magic in a bottle and it works, but I think a lot of times it's how do you bring that web of agencies and make it feel like it's actually showing up for that business that you're working with as opposed to just your own.
And you know, this is interesting because BarkleyOKRP, no small shop, Jack.
Big indie.
Big indie.
Come on.
That's right. That's right.
Bindi.
And that was a significant merger back, what was it, 2024, I believe?
Yeah, we're coming up on 2 years in March.
Yes,
And that really shifted the industry here. And you're growing. And you guys also have opened up a New York office. And you were quoted saying you built a New York office with your Midwestern terms in mind here.
Katy said, we're doing it on my terms. We're doing it on our terms. We're not here just cuz.
That's right. Those Midwestern terms. So can you explain to me what the Midwestern terms are? What do you refuse to do?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we refuse to build it as a single capability, right? So it would have been easy to say, like, let's build more media team out of just our New York office. But instead, it's a fully integrated team. And that fully integrated team also works with all of our different offices. So nobody is sort of standalone in New York. The other thing that I think is interesting about our New York office is probably over 50% of the talent came from one of our other offices and moved to New York and wanted to stay with the agency. So you sort of inherently have this like Midwestern culture inside of our New York space. We've had space in New York for years, actually since about 2018. We were like, had a collection of desks shared in another agency space, but this is our first time that we have our own space. And it's very cool. It's actually our first ever office space that is BarkleyOKRP, like from day one.
We're bringing the family together. In this house,
I guess like, even kind of going back in your memory of the merger itself, like what were some of those core principles of bringing together Barkley and OKRP that you wish like more people knew about?
Yeah, I often look back on that and I think that we were unbelievably intentional about it. Before we even actually signed the paperwork, we brought all of the leadership teams, and I don't just mean like just the C-suite, like everybody who were key leaders in the business. We were all together for 3 days in Chicago.
Sorry, I just kicked the table. Sorry, Katy.
You were so excited about our leadership offsite, Jack. I could tell.
Well, listen,
They did a leadership offsite.
they did. I know. I'm listening. I just had to adjust my foot.
So we got everybody together for about 3 days and like got into the nitty gritty of like, what's this going to be like? Who's going to report to who? What does this mean for our teams? Who are going to be the people in our teams that are going to be nervous? How are we going to tell this story? And then after that, about 6 months later, we brought everyone in the entire company to Kansas City for a full day or 2 days where we had a big party. And then we also had like a big meeting where we talked about like, what does it mean to be big indie? What are we building? And that was over a year and a half ago. And so we've just continued to refine how we bring everybody together. This is so silly, but like, I love stuff like this. Every other week, the whole agency is on an all agency stand-up call. And now in the weeks in between, I send these like video emails just talking about what I'm, seeing in the market, what I'm excited about, what work we're proud of. And I think those are the little things that make a merger feel not faceless. Like you're individual human beings who matter in this. And if we want you to show up every day and do your best work and care deeply about what you do, you got to feel like we do the same for you.
Yeah, it does feel like one. I think we've talked about it before, Gino, on like some of the stuff that we've done. Like the Barkley OKRP merger feels like this is gonna be a glaze, Katy, but kind of the gold standard of like what a merger can look like, just based on like the success. Obviously, we're not in the agency in the office, so I can't speak for like the agency. But from our perspective, like the new business wins, you all won Jiffy Lube earlier this year, which is a big one, and just like the consistent work that's come out feels like it's been successful in like the last 2 years, and I guess like bringing it back to the article and like the idea of like this middle America and maybe what coastal agencies miss out on. Do you feel like in your time just at BarkleyOKRP or before the agency, and you mentioned it too, but like, has it become a shift that you've noticed? Because you've been there since 2012, correct?
Yeah, I've been there a long time. I guess yes, because I do think when so I started my career at Crispin, and then I went to Mullen, and then I came to the middle of the country. It's where I was from, and I knew that it was the right thing for our family, but I also didn't want to like rest on my laurels, right? So I come to this agency, and the thing that excited me always about being there was that it always felt like it was ready to become something. It was always like malleable enough and willing to evolve into an agency that could become one of the big players. I think it took a really long time for clients and the industry to be open to that. I used to joke that my number one goal was to stop showing up in the press as Barkley of Kansas City. Like, I hated that because nobody ever said like Wyden of Portland. The agency stood on its own terms. And I think as everything has evolved and there's been more openness in the industry and in clients, we've stopped having to earmark everything with whether or not you're on one of the coasts, and you can sort of stand on your reputation alone if you've built an agency that can do that.
So, I think I know the answer to this next question, but 10 years from now, if you have a crystal ball, does geography even matter in advertising?
That's interesting because I think that part of the root of why Katy did that article was when we all went remote, we started to tell the story that location didn't matter. So I don't think that location matters, but I think the roots of an agency culture and what they stand for and how that shows up in the work and the perspectives they bring, I think that will still matter.
Yeah, I thought just the last thing I'll say, but like the article, it made me do a little introspection myself, because as someone who does work in New York City, has a very like specific urban life, the vast majority of people, despite all my beliefs, don't actually live the life that I live, nor do they want to live the life that I live.
Not a lot of people want to live your life, Jack.
I'd say most people don't want to live my life, but it did kind of like beg that question. Like, although maybe location doesn't matter, understanding and like relating to an audience, especially for like brand marketing, has really never mattered more for these people that are in the middle of America. Their feeds are probably dominated by like people living their lives in these massive metropolitan cities, and they're like, I don't really live that life. I don't care about that life. But I want to hear your thoughts on that, Katy. Like, geography doesn't matter, but understanding the geography of your audience feels like it matters now more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I totally agree with that. And Jack, I would say the way that our feeds are built, they are probably not being surrounded by things that feel like urban lifestyles. And so when brands go like wholeheartedly in that direction, I think it can feel tone deaf to them. I think it can feel like it doesn't land or it doesn't connect, because their echo chamber maybe looks different. It's not cool, street photography. Instead, it's mommy bloggers. And it's, it's like, so I think that a really deep understanding of the consumer, and I actually think there's a lot of awesome tech and AI tools that are helping us get even smarter and closer to real consumers. So it's not like a proxy for them, but helping us know more, be more curious, ask better questions, even, bringing together focus groups of real people and being able to pull out what we can learn from them quicker so we can actually use those insights. That's been like really helpful for us finding great understanding of audiences in pitches, but even in, current clients, and making sure that the work actually lands and connects.
Yeah, I think my big takeaway is like this tech and all of that is so much more readily available, and not just reserved for the agencies or holding companies that have the biggest budget to throw around. Like, all this technology seems to be never more available. So it's going to come down to the intangibles, Gino. You can mark that down.
Intangibles.
Katy, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate you calling in from Kansas City, Missouri. Oh, I'd love to get down there soon.
She's in Seattle right now.
Oh, you in Seattle right now?
I'm in Seattle. That's okay. I'll be back in Kansas City on Thursday.
Okay. Katy Hornaday back in Kansas City on Thursday. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
That's the show. Gina, what was your favorite part?
I thought my favorite part was chopping up with Warner Bailey. Learning about how our industries are going to be coming closer and closer together, Jack.
Yeah, super interesting.
What about you?
I feel like I didn't know anything about that whole Netflix Paramount stuff, so it was an
good stuff.
education moment for me. Succession. I was a fan. I love chopping up with Jason Murray. I also love chopping up with Katy Hornaday. Just like she's
She's good.
Got a good finger on the pulse. She's been in Kansas City for like 12 years, so it's always interesting to have those conversations.
Hey, we're having conversations like this every single Thursday, so you got to subscribe to us on the YouTube.
Nice. Call to action.
Yeah, you got to do a call to action. We
Gotta
at
do a
least
CTA.
You did like 5 call to actions for all our guests.
I did a lot of plugs. A lot of
Yeah,
plugs.
yeah.
I get carried away. I feel like it's a nice thing to do.
No,
though. Like,
I agree. So we just got to do it for ourselves now.
do our own CTA. What do you got this weekend? Anything good?
I got no plans this weekend. Is there like a food festival, or is there gonna be another blizzard? Like
No.
I have no clue.
I have no idea. I got no plans either. Ross, what do you got this weekend? Go ahead, Ross.
Speed up.
I have a date.
Oh, all right. Well, that's for the bonus show.
Whoa. Keep it rolling. We'll keep this is for the Patreon. Okay. Ross, where are you going for the date?
Going to a jazz bar in Williamsburg.
Wow.
It'll be very romantic.
How did you source this person?
My roommate's girlfriend introduced us.
In real life. That's an in real life meet. Those are few and far between.
Fallen Media's got to listen into that. How that happened?
Yeah. How would you feel about the Love Network? The idea of that
I'm interested
in
the Love Network in general.
How do I join in the Love Network to find love?
Do you guys?
There's
We can
gotta
talk. We can talk about my Street Hearts
Yeah.
appearance. It was freaking awesome.
How did they source you? Do you have a
I
talent
think they
agent?
saw my. Not yet. I think they found me on my TikTok. I think I had a couple TikToks pop off, and then I got reached out to by someone.
Okay, you went on the show. It was a blind date. You put in some like your credentials.
Yeah, you put in like what you're looking for. You put in.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking. What do you mean? I'm looking for love. Why else would you go on Street Hearts?
Love in all the wrong
Places. Copyright infringement. That's gonna get $500 fine.
No, it was less than.
Oh, it's less than that.
Less than 30 seconds.
Oh, that's it. Ross has a date this weekend.
Let's go, Ross.
Ellie, what do you got this weekend?
I have nothing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. JR, how about you?
Trying to find a sponsor for the show.
That's right,
That's
JR.
right, that's the correct answer.
That's right, JR.
That's what it's all about.
That man.
God damn.
Gotta get one. Here's a practice ad read here. This episode is brought to you by Fallen Media's Love Network.
Oh, yeah.
If you're alone, afraid, and scared,
Get on the Love Network. Come on. Well, that's the show. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We're here every Thursday, no matter what. See ya.